Hello and welcome to Michael Pepper Tech Talk. This is episode 3 of Creator Interviews, and on today's episode we have Kevin Breeze. Let's welcome him to the stream tonight.
What's going on, everyone? It's Kevin Breeze here. Really excited to be here on Michael Pepper Tech Talk. So yeah, super excited. So thank you for having me on, Michael.
Thanks for coming out and being a part of this. It's super exciting. You know, it's great opportunity for fellow creators, and I am, super stoked as somebody who's been kind of watching you for a while. You had like 10,000, I think, when I first started watching you, which is not small but not large, and I've seen you progress, and so this is super exciting. So let's get into some questions and have a good fun night. And if anybody in the comments area has any questions, feel free to throw those in there and we'll answer those probably down at the end.
I was gonna say too, how did you find my channel? Do you remember?
I do actually. So I want to say it was an LG Stylo, like the Stylo 2 or something. And I was doing a bunch of research and one of your videos popped up. Funny enough.
The Stylo 4 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So I had an older Stylo at the time and I was looking to see what was going on, and your videos popped up and I was like, oh, he seems cool. He does like a lot of comparisons of things, and you delve right into the camera aspects as well. I mean, I like how you start off with like, this is an unboxing first impression. This is a basic, and then you come back to things, because a lot of creators don't do that. They just kind of leave it, and then it's like they forgot that they had the device, and it doesn't seem very genuine. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going for when I create this content. But sweet. So how long have I been making YouTube videos? So my Kevin Breeze account, which is my main channel, I've created a couple of other channels in the last year or so just to kind of get into other niches. But for this channel, which is my primary channel, is where I'm putting all my effort into, at least at the moment. I created the channel in 2010 with the goal from the beginning to make tech videos. However, I was just a bit younger back then, of course. It wasn't as serious of an operation. I just wanted to get some free products sent to me to review. So I had recently gotten an iPod Touch, and I just didn't have money for a case for the iPod Touch, and I saw that people were getting cases sent to them all the time. So my goal was at first was just to make videos about my iPod Touch and to get some free stuff sent to me. So I did get that. I remember a company, which I believe they're not even around anymore, but they're called Agent 13. They sent me a case for my iPod Touch. And then after that, I just started making videos about any technology that I had, like stuff that I already owned, even if it wasn't necessarily new, kind of building out my portfolio of different, videos and stuff. So then after that, I just started to get other companies contacting me, wanting me to check out their other products, and they were all kind of basic products like headphones and stuff. And yeah, over time it kind of transformed into this. Now there was a period of time from like 2013 to about 2016 where I really didn't take the channel that seriously. It was pretty dormant. I would make maybe a video once a month or something. And that's because I was in college at Arizona State. But after I graduated, I really got serious about the channel, and then it has kind of turned into what it is right now.
So I guess you already covered this question, kind of.
Yeah. So what made me want to become a creator? So it's a mixture of multiple factors. I mean, the first thing I think originally why I started making these videos to start with was because I did want to get free stuff sent to me. So that was pretty much the main goal at the beginning, just because I saw all these other tech creators that really weren't even that big, and they'd be like, oh, I just got these headphones sent to me. You know, I just got a case sent to me. I got this sent to me, that sent to me. And I was thinking like, okay, I kind of want to get in on that. I want to get some free stuff. Why not? I just have to make a couple of videos and I get free stuff. And then after that, as the channel did grow a little bit, then I got invited to the partner program. So then I was able to monetize my content that way. And then I wanted to take things up to the next level. So I did start to buy certain items that I wanted to cover on the channel. And really, what I'd recommend for any creators getting started is that you do really need to buy stuff to cover on the channel. You can't just depend on stuff that gets sent to you for free, because a lot of those items just are not that exciting. They're not items that people are actively searching for. So if you just make videos about free power banks and headphones and USB cables that get sent to you, you're just not going to get that many people interested in the content. So you do have to kind of put up some of your own money. Doesn't have to be a lot of money, but just buy some of the most exciting products that come out, even if it's more of a budget product that's exciting. And then that will help you kind of build out your channel. So that's the advice that I would say. But it definitely takes a little bit of investment to get the ball rolling on a new channel. That's for sure.
Well, that's what I did, because I started off with stuff I had.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely. Yeah, definitely do that. Yeah, I'd say what I did was I went through. I mean, I was already into tech, like interested in it on a personal level. So I just went through everything I had, and I thought, is this worth making a video about? I remember I had a TV that I'd already owned for several years, but I figured, you know what, I have it. Why not make a video about it? So I made a video about that TV. I made a video about my keyboard. I made a video about my mouse. Made a video about my PC. Just anything I could, because those were items I already owned, so I wouldn't have to pay anything to get those items. And then beyond that, then I did content about stuff that companies wanted to send me for free. And then after I kind of milked that out as much as possible with the stuff I already own and the stuff that I could get sent to me, that's when I started to kind of invest by buying some different items to cover on the channel. And then what I did starting off is that I would buy, like, let's just say it was like a certain phone I wanted to make videos about. I would buy the phone and then do the content. And then afterwards I'd put it up on eBay and sell it. And of course I wouldn't get all my money back, since it's a used phone then at that point, selling it. But I was able to at least get probably about 70% of my money back. And then I took that money and then reinvested that into other products as well to cover. So it's kind of like a never ending cycle. Nowadays, though, since I am making a decent amount of money with the channel, to justify this, I don't sell devices as quickly as I used to. I try to keep the phones around for a bit longer so that I can do long-term coverage. And I think that's one of the things that kind of sets my channel apart from other channels, just because of that. But also I'm really big into the comparisons as well. So I like to compare different budget phones, especially. So like, for example, right now I have the Galaxy A71 right here, and then the Galaxy A51. So instead of just making a review and that's it and being done with it, I'm going to make a video comparing these. I'm going to make a video, well, I already did for the A51, but like a video about the 5 best and 5 worst things about it, a video about the tips and tricks related to the phone, and just whatever other videos I could think of. So the idea here is that instead of just making one video, which would be the review, or even 2 videos, the unboxing and the review, and then just being done with the phone, I want to milk as much content out of that phone as I can, especially since a lot of creators right now only really do the review and maybe one comparison, and that's it, and then they're done. When people search for that phone, they don't see too many videos beyond the review. Like if you search up for a certain review, like Galaxy A51 review, and you see 5 review videos about the phone, and then you see one video that's called like 5 best and 5 worst things, then you'd definitely probably make sure that you watch that one video, right? Yeah. About the 5 best and 5 worst things. So making these different videos that are still relevant and useful to people, but maybe a different kind of spinning it off a little bit differently from just doing a standard review. Of course, I still do the review, but just extra videos. Then I can get more back on this investment of buying the phone in the first place. So,
well, and the other thing is, I mean, their phones aren't super expensive, but they're not super cheap. So you don't want to just you're not going to make back your investment on one video necessarily, especially when you're first starting. So it's like, if you can, and when I'm searching for stuff, I can, it's better to me if, like, for example, if I find something related to the A51 on your channel and I like how you do it, but I can't find anything else, then I have to go try to find another channel that I like that's pushing me away from your channel, and that's also hard to find sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
you like watching the people that you like watching, so that's a benefit. If you just keep producing more content based on even just one product, people come back, and the I know the way the software links stuff too. Um, like if you have videos that are doing really well on Samsung products, but you only do one video on each product, that's not very beneficial. Where if you do like 5 on each device, um, the
Yeah.
algorithm likes that and the people like that, so it keeps bringing you back. And you could end up
Mhm.
reviewing something that people don't like and they don't come back, and you don't have other content for them.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing too is that when people are looking to buy a phone, and I kind of keep talking about phones specifically because that is the main focus now of the channel, which is another thing I'll talk about in a second here. But uh, people don't want to just watch one video about a phone. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they do want to watch multiple videos. So provide them with multiple videos, right? Provide
It,
them with different maybe they want to see a dedicated video just about the camera quality. There's only so much you could really talk about, for example, for cameras in the review video, right? Like I'm not going
mhm.
to spend 10 minutes talking about the camera in a review video. There's plenty of other things to talk about. So that's why, making a dedicated video about that specific thing that's really important is worth doing. And I think the results speak for themselves, because I've, now that I've been applying this formula of making, 4 or 5 or 6 or even 10 videos about certain phones, like I'll add up the views, 6 months later after the fact to see if it's worth it or not. And yeah, I mean, I'm getting way more views out of it, right? Like here's an example. The Galaxy A20 was a really popular phone last year. And I think one of the reasons why is because, of course, it was a good phone, but also was on a variety of different carriers and stuff. But I think I've literally, like, if you go to my channel and look up Samsung Galaxy A20, I think I've literally made like 20 to 25 videos about this phone between the comparisons. I made a video, is it worth it, in late 2019. I made a video, is it worth it, in 2020. And I'll probably keep the phone to do a video of about whether it's worth it in 2021. So there are so many different types of videos you can do about one product. And my point is that if I got the Galaxy A20 and I just did the review and I was like, okay, I'm done, moving on to the next one, I literally just lost out on like tens of thousands of views, from that, right?
Well,
So
and
the review is just one small piece in the puzzle of, of getting the most out of these investments, right?
I think it looks better too, because like if you buy a product or you get a product sent to you and you use it once and then you're done with that, it's one of those like,
That was my phone.
oh,
Sorry about that.
that's funny. I had an alarm go off at the exact same time.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I did it for this stream. Yeah.
Um,
So,
what I was gonna say is, so if you got like the A21 or the A51 or whatever, and you did a review just one time and then got rid of it, people that are coming to your channel are gonna be like, he must not really like that device.
mhm.
Or like, how thorough did he go if he just did one video? And then,
Mhm.
so what I've noticed your approach reminds me of is a student writing like their thesis, where you have your main paragraph being like your review video, your unboxing, your initial impressions video, and then you have your paragraphs below that kind of explain that, and that's
Mhm.
your separate videos. And then you do like your follow up later where you're like, this is what I thought of this phone in 2020, or this is what I is like your summary of your thesis.
Yeah, that's a good point. And another thing too is that, of course, the comparisons are a big thing, and that's something that most creators don't do, just because maybe they don't have all these different phones, so they don't have the ability to create the comparisons. But I know a lot of people, like if you're considering, for example, getting the A51 or getting the A71, you're not really like seeing a video where both phones are in the same video side by side, it's really useful. So, I think that's something that also makes the channel stand out. And especially like some of the bigger creators out there who I respect a lot, but like MKBHD or Flossie Carter, which I'm a big fan of Flossie Carter. My format is pretty much inspired by him of making these pretty simple videos, like simple as in like the recording process is simple, but then packing it full of information. So that's kind of where I've gotten my inspiration from. But some of those creators, like they're so big, they can't do all those comparisons, right? I mean, if MKBHD started doing like videos comparing one phone to another and then another phone to another phone, like it would just be too much, I think, for what his audience is used to. So my point is though about this, not that those people are doing anything wrong, because they're not, but there are multiple approaches to being successful on YouTube. There's not just one strategy that works. I mean, there are tons of different ways to do it. This is the way that I do it. It works for me, but of course I could completely change up the style. I could buy a red, a $20,000 red camera if I want to. And I'm sure people would love the quality increase on my content as well. But then I wouldn't be able to put out nearly as much content. So
yeah, it's the differentiation and finding your niche is really important. And that's what I think I finally did. And it's like, because I have people that are coming to me wanting to be on these things. And it's like, dang, I planned on doing these once a month, and now I'm at 3, and I'll have my 4th within like a month and a half from when I started.
Yeah,
because I'm doing another one next week, and then I'll have a break for a few weeks, and then I'll have another one unless somebody else comes to me and is like, "Hey, I want to,"
Yeah, sure.
So,
well, I was gonna say that's another thing that is was a game changer for me. So previously, what I used to do on the channel, I would review all, like, because I like all different tech. I don't just like budget phones, but I used to do everything. Like one video would be a projector review, another video would be a laptop review, another video would be a camera review, and then another one would be a phone review. That's cool and all, but when I switched to just doing phones and that's it. And by the way, TechRite, if you've heard of him, a great guy, a great friend of mine as well. He's pretty much the one that showed me this style. So that's where I learned to just do one specific type of tech, which then what I did is budget phones. But the thing is that if you focus on one specific part of the tech industry, then not only do you personally learn more about products in that niche, but also the viewers will then see you as more of an authority figure in that specific niche as well. So like, since I own a bunch of different budget phones now, when I create a video about a budget phone, people are going to take that more seriously, because they're gonna be like, okay, well, this guy owns literally every phone, or has owned at one point, every single one of these budget phones under $300. So he probably knows more about what he's talking about than other people that just have one phone. So, I'm not saying like people, if they just only have access to one or two phones, like they shouldn't make a review. Of course, those people have a whole different take on it. And
I get what you're saying. It's like,
but if you specialize in one thing, then you learn a lot more about it. You become more of an expert about it. And that's helped me out a lot too, because when I make these videos, which I don't script anymore, by the way, I have pieces of paper for each phone that has all the specs on it, so I don't mess those up, of course. But since I am so familiar now with these phones, it makes it so much easier to make the content, because I just sit there and I'm like, oh, I already know, quite a bit about each of these devices. And then back to that other thing, how I make like 10 videos about each phone. Like I've it's just, I really know what I'm talking about, I guess. Like maybe I don't, but I feel like I do. Yeah. So when I then go into it to record these videos, I can just go boom, boom, boom. I know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Whereas if let's say my previous video was a projector, and the video after that was a camera. Well, I'm not going to be as familiar about what I'm talking about, just because I don't deal with that tech every day. And so that's really what helped me take the channel to the next level. A whole nother thing too is that I think in general, the algorithm prefers creators that stick to one specific type of thing. They love it when you create content that that people want to watch every video you put out. Because when you do a variety of different types of tech as well, there will be certain people that watch your content that don't care about projectors, but they really like phones, or they don't, or they really like cameras, but they don't like phones or projectors, for example. So you won't have consistency with building a fan base. You won't have consistency with the viewers tuning in, because certain people simply aren't interested in other types of tech.
People
Now
get
I
confused.
don't, yeah, yeah. Now I think there are exceptions to that. I mean, there's people like Linus Tech Tips, great guy. MKBHD, he does mainly do phones, but he will do other types of tech. But I think for those people tune in more for like who they are and like their personality. Like even Flossie Carter, like he can put out a video. I know he does a lot of phones as well, mainly, but Floss can put out a video about a dash cam, and people will still tune in because they know him a lot, like they're familiar with him, and they just like him for him. But I think getting started, when people don't really, let's face it, like maybe at this point some people will watch because of me, but I think they mainly watch because they're specifically interested in that certain type of tech, right? That's why they're watching. So that's why just keeping the content super consistent about one specific type of tech is really the way to grow a tech channel in 2020. Now I know that some people will say like, oh well, if I only make videos about phones, and by the way, this doesn't just apply to phones. Like you can make videos about just cameras or just projectors. The same principles apply. I mean, you could do a video about projectors and be tips and tricks related to the projector. You could do five best, five worst things about a projector, right? So there's way more you can do for other tech niches. But yeah, I would say just sticking to one specific type of tech. But here's the thing I was going to say as well. People, I've heard some critics of that idea say, well, if you just do budget phones, you're going to get so bored about it because it's just the same thing over and over again. And to be honest, no, it's actually more fun just to stick to one specific type of thing, because you learn more about it and like you become more knowledgeable about it. And then also seeing like the channel grow as a result of focusing on one specific type of thing outweighs not having to cover other types of tech as well. Another thing I was going to say too is that when you stick to one certain type of tech, the learning curve to learn how to use that particular device before creating your review and other content is so much lower. Like for example, I already spent a bunch of quality time with the Galaxy A51 before getting the Galaxy A71. Now, of course, there are differences between these two phones, but it's the same operating system, same user interface and everything. So I don't have to go through so much time to like relearn how to use, a Samsung phone, because I've already been using all the others.
Yeah.
Like, if I got a projector in, which I still do videos sometimes about other types of tech, but like, I'd have to be like, oh, what does this feature do? What does that do? Like, better watch other people's videos first to like learn more about it. I don't have to do that anymore, because then now I can just focus on the differences between these different devices, because I already know all the commonalities, right?
It's like I like talking to people, so that's why I've started doing these creator interviews. And like I literally went from like 40 to 80 views every 48 hours with videos to, I just checked earlier today and I had 600 in the last 48 hours now that I'm doing these creator interviews things, because people come on and watch these and then they watch my old videos.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's the other thing too. By having like a consistent catalog on your channel of like other, like all the content is kind of similar in certain ways. People will go look at your old stuff. They'll binge watch it all, right?
It's crazy. It's been crazy. I was like, wait a minute, I have how many?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting here and it's like, you see 40, 60, 80, and then all of a sudden I was like, this spike of like, wow. It's like, now it's like, and that's what I want to see. And of course, I mean, it needs to keep going up if I want to get monetized, but it's cool to see that. And like you said though, focusing on that. But then the other thing is, besides kind of what you talked about with if you're all over the place, is people don't know what to expect from you, and they don't know what your quality is because they can come to you and like one time you're really good with smartphones, and then the next video you really don't know what you're talking about with projectors, so it makes you
Right.
seem weak. It makes you seem like weak, I guess, or like you
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
what you're
Less of an
doing.
authority figure on the topic.
So
Yeah.
stick to what you know, and then you can always expand.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, I
like,
think nowadays though, with the way the algorithm is that if you do expand, you almost want to create a separate channel on
that's what
it.
I did because
Yeah.
I have my photography channel because I didn't want to put that stuff like in here and confuse people because I did one video where I made a short film and like people got confused. So I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
just gonna make a separate channel. Plus, then if I don't make those consistently and I just want to do one like every few months, it doesn't mess up my main channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No, I
then
mean, yeah,
people
definitely.
who like that content can just go to there. So,
Yeah, because it's like I mean, look at other channels like I don't know if you watch like the H3 podcast, like they have, a dedicated channel for their podcasts and people are used to that. Like if they suddenly put up some like random other type of video on that channel, people would be like, "What the heck? Like this is not supposed to be. This is a podcast channel. Like what's this other video doing on here?" You know what I mean? So sticking to one specific type of content. And then also, yeah, for you as well, with doing these interviews, having that be one of your main focuses, you get better and better at the interviews by doing them so often.
and being on camera myself
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
not
So,
not stumbling over my words. I can talk for hours and not have to like figure out what I'm gonna
right.
say. And coming up with the questions too really helps because then I come up with questions for myself, like when I'm doing a review or whatever. Because
Mhm.
the thing is, people are harder to review. To review, yes, to review. I'm reviewing you, Kevin.
Yeah.
People are harder to interview than a product because every person's different, but a lot of these products have the same, you can do cameras, you can do software, you can do that's all kind of the same. Like you have the main parts, but people all have like um uh for example, I want to do more than just tech. I want to get into like artists and photographers and musicians and things like that I'll interview. Well, everybody
Sure.
has different aspects of their lives, and some people have 150 subscribers, some have almost 60,000 like you're getting close to. Some people have 10
Mhm.
million. So you just kind of learn, and like the questions I have here are different than I asked in my last two, and it's just like you said though, it's the same thing. So you learn what to what to do the more you do it, especially,
Yeah.
and if you're all over the place, you don't really know where to go. It's like running around with your
Yeah.
head cut off sort of thing, and
Yeah, it's kind of like if you
people can
Oh
tell
yeah.
in your videos, they're like, he's confused, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, it's think about it. It's almost like an artist, like in a sense. Like artists do one specific type of like let's just say like a painter, right? Like if you do oil painting, you're not gonna do like watercolor the next day, and then you're gonna do photography the next day, and then you're gonna do pottery the next day. Like you're just going to be bad at every single one of those things. So, or mediocre or average, you know what I mean? So if you just focus on one specific type of thing and master that, that's what people are not that. I mean, there are a lot of people doing that, of course, on YouTube, but there are way more people not doing that, way more people not
it's
doing that.
it's funny because the whole definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Exactly. Yeah.
We actually intentionally do that. Like as a good creator, you're almost insane by definition.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to be insane if you want to make it in life, I guess.
So, let's keep going here. How do you go about reaching out to companies for reviews or like review products to have them sent to you or whatever, that type of thing?
So I'll admit it probably is something I could do that a little more, but nowadays I don't really reach out to companies. It's more they reach out to me, and uh, there's different types of. I mean, usually if I do reach out to a company, it's for more of a sponsorship, not because I want their product. Because sometimes it's just not really worth like sometimes there's a lot of like not strings attached that affect like the content itself, but like if you contact a company, they might say like, oh yeah, well, we want the product back afterwards, which I don't really like doing that because I feel like I'm rushed then. with creating my content.
Yeah, no,
So
there were a lot of people that were critical of that, and like Samsung with the Z Flip did a 24-hour, like you have it for 24 hours and you turn around and hand it back. It's like I wouldn't even
yeah.
have enough time. I could do one video and like shoot, edit, and put it up, and then like if I mess something up, I'm
Hmm.
done because the product's gone.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I do still have those some companies that are very kind, with sending me products to review, and I can make I can talk about obviously whatever I want, and I don't have to give the product a good review either. I mean, I certainly would not agree to get a product for free if I had to do that. But like Umidigi, for example, they send me every new phone that they put out. However, at first they didn't. So I started out, I just bought their phones with my own money. And eventually, though, I kind of took over in that space with creating the best content related to their brand, or one of the creators that created the best content, I guess. So it stood out to them. So then they started contacting me, and they said, oh, well, since your viewers seem to be interested in our brand, can you also make extra videos announcing the product? Like when the product is announced, like, can you make a video about that? Which I do as well. And basically they said, yeah, I mean, for kind of going above and beyond with helping us out, like we have no problem with sending you out our newer devices that are released. So that's one brand that I do a lot of stuff with. I mean, as far as Samsung goes, which nowadays with the A series, that's the majority of my content that I put out is about the A series. I've never gotten a phone from them. In fact, I didn't even get invited to Unpacked. I think I could have emailed them and asked to go to Unpacked, but it was just too last minute this year for me to arrange that, and I just didn't go. But I think next year I should be able to contact them and go to Unpacked. But also LG, I do a lot of videos about like the Stylo series. And trust me, there's no way that the people at LG don't know about my content, since like the videos have gotten so many views about the Stylo 5. I mean, if you go on Google right now and search up LG Stylo 5, my video is like on the main Google page. So for whatever reason, they don't really want to work with me or send me products. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because I'm able to make this a profitable operation with buying the phones myself anyway. So
Yeah, it's
so,
one of those
I
tricky.
don't lose sleep over not working with companies. I was going to say one other thing too. What's cool when you do buy the products yourself versus getting them sent out to you, you can do everything at your own pace. I mean, there's nothing worse, and I've had this before, where a company will send me a product, and it's like literally the day that I receive the product, they're like, "Where's the review at?" It's like, do you guys like not even want me to use the product? Like, I need to use it for a decent amount of time before I could really even have any sort of judgment about it. So it's yeah. So when you go out with your own money and buy the products, assuming you can afford it, it's nice because there's nothing to worry about. You just do what you want to do. Focus on your audience, focus on the content, focus on your thoughts about the device, and then that's it. I mean,
And I would say with that, you know that you're not getting a product that's either better than what they're going to send out in retail or worse, because sometimes like reviewers review a product and it has test software on it.
mhm.
And then other times I don't know any company that does this specifically, but I got to think that there might be some companies that do this where they send like the best quality devices to the reviewers.
It could happen. Yeah.
And
Uh,
so then it's like, but then all your viewers and all your subscribers are like, that's not the experience I'm having. I'm having a horrible experience. What's going on? It's like,
mhm.
or the opposite. I'm having, you're having an awful experience and they're having really good because um you got some special treatment. So
Exactly. Yeah. And, nowadays, a lot of brands don't necessarily send me the product directly. What they'll do instead is just provide me with a discount code, like a promo code, so that I can just purchase it on my own. So, with that in consideration, I don't know exactly how that whole fulfillment process works with getting it sent to me. But if I'm purchasing it with a code instead of like them just shipping it directly to me, I feel like they don't really have control over which unit I receive. So I'm pretty confident that the phones I do receive are, just whatever random phone on the shelf was next in line to get shipped out. So that's good. I was gonna say though, sometimes there are some disadvantages with working with companies for reviews. Like here's an interesting story. Now I'm a big fan of Blue, you know, the phone company. I like their products. I like the people that work for them as well. They're great people, but sometimes they're a little slow on sending out review units. So like for example, when the Bold N1 came out, I was really excited about that to see that it came out. So I ordered it immediately. You know, as soon as I saw it on Amazon, I ordered it because I just knew people really wanted to see it. And then like 3 weeks or like I think it was like 2 weeks later, it was right before I put out my Bold N1 video. They reached out to me and they said, "Hey, you want to review the phone?" It's like, yeah, too late. I already ordered it, you know? So like my point is that some of these companies, like they're slow to send out review units, and I'm not too concerned necessarily about being first. That's not a huge deal with like, you know, putting the phone out, you know, the content out immediately. Like it can help sometimes. But the thing is that people are going to keep asking like all the time, like, you know, where's this video? Where's this video? The phone came out a week ago. Where is it? You know, I prefer to you know, satisfy the needs of the viewers by getting it out as soon as I can. So when these companies kind of lag behind with sending out units, it just complicates the process. You know, the companies I do appreciate are the companies that will send you the product before they even announce the product, you know, and then under NDA, of course, you don't reveal any details about it. But that's what I appreciate that, because then I can have all my videos ready, and then on the day that the product drops, you know, I'll immediately have my content out there. So unfortunately, though, not at least with the brands I work with, they don't really do that. So I don't know why. I feel like it's a win-win for both parties. I feel like, you know, on launch date, they would want a lot of content out about their phones, but unfortunately, there's a
I've
miscommunication there.
I've seen a lot of people though that have talked about like the opposite of experience with like um everybody's getting the product ahead of time, like 2 weeks ahead of time or whatever. So then you have 50 people all releasing almost the same video, because I've noticed like watching these videos, you have iJustine, you have MKBHD, you have uh Bored at Work, you have Super Saf, you have all these different ones,
Mhm.
that the videos are all very similar, and if you wait till, like, a week or so after the product launches, or even a week or after, like, it's available in the stores and do your reviews, that I've seen those videos actually get more views
Mhm.
because people just click on, like, whoever's the top in their list that pops up on the first day, that's what they click on.
Mhm.
And some
Yeah.
people, like me, I'll go and watch all of them because I watch channels just because I like their content. But some people, it's like whatever they're searching a product, whichever the top one is, that's what they go with, and then they're done. They don't watch the next 25. So then,
Right.
like a week later, when another product is out and those are kind of lower on the list, and then yours comes in and it's like yours is one out of the top 50 now because all those other new video topics have come out.
Mhm.
It's so I've seen either way, and it's kind of funny to study
Yeah.
that.
I know what you mean, because I know like with the S20, for example, when that was announced, like my sub box was just flooded with S20 content. And ironically, like a lot of those creators, like they didn't necessarily get that many views just because everyone's putting out the same video, like you were saying.
I got
I think the biggest thing though about getting a device early that helps me at least, and I think it's partially having to do with, you know, the way my channel is with where I make like 10 videos about one certain phone. uh I just like yeah, I'll make a video and have it ready on the embargo date, like when we all have to put out the videos. But I just like getting the phone before the launch, just because I know for sure I'm getting it. Like I'm getting it before it comes. You know what I mean? Like before it comes out. Because the problem is that if a company lags like 2 weeks behind with sending it out to me, I don't know if they're actually going to send it out to me, you know, 2 weeks after the launch, or if they're going to send it to me a month after the launch, or send it to me at all. So sometimes I don't really want to risk like not knowing if I'm going to be getting the product or not. So I just go ahead and buy it, you know, with my own money. So that's why I'm
yeah,
saying, like, at least if they send it to you before the official launch, you know, like, all right, I got the phone. I know for sure I'm not buying it because I own it all. You know, I already have it. So I just like that part of it. So that's the biggest advantage in my mind with getting devices early, is just that I know for sure that I don't have to buy it. You're right. So which phone is your daily carry? So I actually switch. I carry two different devices. So I have an iPhone XS Max, which is kind of like just my. It's not, the latest and greatest from Apple. It's just a phone that I don't care about like getting, breaking, whatever. I'm not worried about that one. So I have that, and then I also have the LG G7. So I use the LG G7 to record all of my videos now. So I use Cricut with that phone, and then sometimes I'll swap out the SIM for into other devices that I'm actively like reviewing or using. So that's usually like I'll switch off between that, but it is the G7 pretty often typically. And then I have Verizon with my iPhone XS Max. So another thing I was going to say too is that the reason why, like, I actually have an iPhone 11, like I have it right here. But even though I have an iPhone 11, I still use the XS Max on a day-to-day basis because it has all my crap on there. It has like all my different apps and 100, 200 different apps. So you almost have to have like one main device that you don't feature in your content, you don't put in your videos, just like a device that has all my crap on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for my secondary device, whether it's the G7 or whatever I'm currently like reviewing and using for the review, that will have the apps that I mostly use, like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Honestly, that's 95% of the time. Well, YouTube, of course, 95% of the time. Those are the apps I'm using. And then for like really specific apps, like apps that I, who knows, like Shazam, for example, like, how often I use that. Like then I'll pull out the iPhone to use those apps. But, just by using kind of the core applications on the phones I review, it's nice because I don't have to go through the process of downloading 100 different apps on the phone. But at the same time, I'm able to use the phone for 95% of the time because I am able to use those core applications that I use, on a regular basis on those devices.
I never really thought about that. I guess it's because I just usually put my device into like airplane mode if I'm shooting a review on it.
Yeah, I
Because I
mean,
have my main phone number is my in one device. It's in, well, it was in my iPhone. Now it's actually my OnePlus 7T, but so all my stuff comes to that, kind of like with you, and then I have the apps on the other devices just because I like comparing to see like is there any issues like with the app on the specific device? Is there
that's
any
true.
issues with the Android version versus the iOS version? Is there any is it crashing because the base camera needs to be updated and that's what's causing the app to crash,
Yeah.
but like you, I have a lot of apps, but those are just on my main devices, and the other devices they're not there because I don't want people seeing all that. I don't
Well, I
want
was gonna
like
say it's also kind of just like I mean, it's not like I have like apps that I'm like embarrassed of or whatever, but like I don't know, it's just like a ton of like I'm not really that like here's the home screen on my iPhone XS Max. It's just all kinds of junk. You know what I mean? Like if I had that in every video, it just doesn't look like that professional
well,
compared to my iPhone 11. Like you can see on the home screen here, it's just kind of the typical like default Apple apps, and then I also have, certain apps that people would want to see it for different comparisons. So like the iPhone 11 now, I just use that specifically just for the comparisons. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it kind of gets a little complicated, but
it gets really
I don't know.
complicated on
I'm just saying, like every time I get a new phone, it's just not realistic for me to download a bunch of apps that I like don't even really use. Like I might use once a month. It just doesn't
yeah,
really make
yeah.
sense. Like it'd take forever for them to download as well.
That's one thing too. Like I've had to go um turn off notifications because in particular on Android, I don't want like Facebook Messenger messages popping
Hmm.
up in the middle of a video with the
Hmm.
bubble. Where like on
Exactly.
an iPhone, if the app's not open, it's not gonna it might come down in a notification, but if I have do not disturb turned on, it just goes away. But
Hmm.
sometimes do not disturb, like on Android, it just doesn't
Doesn't always work.
always do that. Like certain
Well,
apps
yeah.
will just still pop up, but you don't get the
Yeah,
notification, but like the bubble still shows up. So
that's the other thing too. Like, when you when you're making a video and you think like you suspect like, oh, there'll be notifications popping up, like it kind of makes it more difficult to focus on the actual like content
mhm.
of the video, just because it makes you a little anxious that you're gonna have distractions with the notifications. But so, which device am I looking forward to using in 2020? Well, considering that in 2019, by far the most popular phone on my channel is the Galaxy A20. I would say the Galaxy A21 is my most looking forward to device. I'm really excited about that one. And there are other phones coming out this year. I know like LG, for the first time, it looks like they're getting really serious about their mid-range to budget phones. I saw recently they announced that they have the K41S, K51S, and K61 coming out. So I think those might be pretty interesting. Also, TCL is really taking their like they've been putting out Alcatel devices and BlackBerry branded devices for a long time, but for the first time, TCL is really putting a lot of marketing resources and putting out decent devices under the TCL brand, and they're pretty affordable too, starting at $350. So I'm looking forward to the mid-range TCL phones coming out. But I would say, as far as like the phone that I'm looking forward to, that would make that would be really popular in my channel, it's definitely got to be the A21. That one is I think gonna go pretty crazy. So what specs would make your ultimate smartphone? So I guess it just kind of depends too on price point. I mean, of course, I think the S20 Ultra, like that seems to have the best specifications of any phone out now. So I'm really, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy with those specifications, but I would say like the best specs for a phone that's under like $300. I just like, I guess just like AMOLED display. I mean, really these A series phones have like the A51. I mean, it's almost like the ultimate smartphone in a sense for the price of the device. So, it has a good camera and stuff. I would say like, I would like to see a phone, like I saw that the Pixel 4a has been leaked out kind of. I would like to basically see something kind of like the Pixel 4a with, really tiny bezels, maybe I know they're not going to have it for that phone, but like I'd like to have a front facing camera under the display. That would make an ultimate smartphone. Definitely has to have an ultra wide camera. And I don't really care about telephoto anymore, especially since some of these phones are packing in so many megapixels for the cameras. So yeah, I guess it's kind of a tough question to answer. I mean, overall, I'm pretty satisfied with a lot of the specifications that these phones have. I think it's more like the form factor. Like I know, like for example, the iPhone 11, like whatever phone replaces that, it better have a smaller bezel. Like the bezel is just ridiculous. Like, or not the bezel, but the notch on the iPhone 11. Like I can't stand how large of a notch the phone has. So, maybe for iOS, if they just had a phone kind of like the iPhone 11, but it had an AMOLED display instead, and then had no notch, like that would be pretty close to like a dream phone for iOS. And then I mean, when it comes to Android, I feel like the A series really is kind of giving me everything I'd ever want for a phone in that price.
I thought it was weird that Apple did the whole like, we're gonna place the bottom price device in the middle as far as screen size, and we're gonna give you, in the more expensive, the Pro models are gonna have the smallest and the largest screen.
Yeah, it's kind
That
of
was weird to
strange.
me.
Yeah,
Like, I figured, and as far as cutting costs too, that they would put a smaller screen, but I guess the idea is they cut costs by using different display technology, and then
hmm
being able to put the larger battery in there, it makes it still like the battery beast for people.
right.
And that's the
Yeah,
phone that they really wanted to sell. I think that the Pro and like the Pro Max are the phones that it's kind of like now Samsung is shifting where like the S line is the phone are the lines for like the people that can afford it, and the A line is for like the everyday consumer.
sure.
So
Yeah,
Apple kind of
definitely.
did the same thing, because at one point it was kind of everything was similarly priced and all the phones had kind of the same things.
Hmm.
and that they kept that one device at that price point, and that was the phone that they really want to sell everybody. But they needed to make the other two for the people that wanted those higher end specs, the display, the cameras, and things like that for everybody else. So
Right. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, another thing too is like I would say that for the ultimate smartphone, it's almost software that would almost play a bigger deal than the specs for me at this point. I feel like the specs are pretty good on a lot of phones. Like I'm satisfied with that. I think I would really like to see, one of the things I like about Samsung's One UI 2.0 is that it does pack in a lot of great software features that you can't find right now with stock Android or even like the Pixel variant of Android. So I would like to see almost like stock Android, but with a lot of the best One UI 2.0 features included, like the feature, for example, where you can watch a video and then like over other stuff, but then also it just gives you extra customization where you can like make the video half transparent and like things like that.
oh yeah,
And
the
then
pop-up.
one-handed mode is really cool for One UI 2.0. So I would really like to see like stock Android implement those features. So
Yeah, the whole pop-up thing where it like, because then you could have like 3 apps open at the same time. And
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just feel like at this point, it's almost the software that needs more features rather than necessarily the hardware getting better. Another thing too is that it'd be great to see like more phones that offer security updates on a regular basis, more phones that will give us, long-term Android updates as well. Like that's something that most OEMs are still like really bad and slow about. So
that should
yeah.
improve, because I know Android 9 was supposed to bring the whole aspect of basically they would push out these Delta updates,
Mhm.
and so the minor updates, not like the major like Android 11, Android 12, but like the minor updates would all be pushed through the Play Store, so it doesn't matter what device you're using. And I can't remember what the term that they use for, but Samsung coined like a term, and it also had to do with how they structure the actual operating system itself. So all of them do that now, and also how it's designed so that it doesn't matter what hardware you're using, it can kind of push that out. And then the companies can put their skins on it, but they don't have to change it for every single little update. So be interesting to
Right.
see.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a big fan of that. And yeah, I just think in general with the software, there's progress still to be made involving those updates. I know like Android One is like Nokia uses Android One, which is like stock Android, like you're supposed to get updates easier. I would like to see more companies use that. I know Samsung certainly won't, but
They've actually been getting really good. I've noticed.
yeah.
It's funny because like Samsung has been up there as far as like I think it's January security patch on my Note 10 Plus already.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
like
Well, yeah, Sam's you're right. They are a lot better about that. I feel like Samsung really is the only company that has like implemented a skin that I don't mind. I feel like all the others like LG, I know for some Xiaomi devices they have MIUI. I just feel like all these other companies, I mean OnePlus, I think their Oxygen, which I know you're gonna ask me more about that later, but I know they're like Oxygen OS is close to stock, so that's good. But I just feel like all these other companies that kind of create their own skins, besides Samsung, just should just go with stock Android instead. Like
yeah.
Motorola's approach has been really good. So,
Oh, I guess we kind of you kind of covered the whole camera thing anyways. So
but let me just one more time. Are cameras that important on a smartphone? Yeah, I mean, yeah. For me, at least, cameras are one of the most important things. That's why I'm glad to see that with the Pixel 3a, they really focus on that. Is there any particular person that you'd really like to work with? I mean, a lot of like, even though I really like getting to know people in the tech community and stuff, and a lot of the really good friends that I have, I've met through this whole thing through YouTube and on Twitter and stuff. I don't know if like I'm never really that enthusiastic about necessarily making content with anybody. Like obviously it's fun being on this live stream, and I do want to do more like collaborations with having people on the channel in the future, but I don't think there's really any certain person that I really would like want to work with, especially. I will say though, like I know like a lot of people that are smaller creators. I consider myself to be, relatively small compared to the, larger creators, but I know like they all have like this dream, like, oh, I wish I could work with MKBHD. Wish I could work with Unbox Therapy. I don't know. That doesn't really like, if I'm going to work with someone, I want it to be kind of like, I want both of us to kind of be on the same level. I don't want it to be viewed as like, oh, well, he's only working with MKBHD because he wants clout. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want like, I would want it to be a whatever way that the collabs are set up. I would definitely want it to be mutually beneficial for both parties. Like
Yeah.
I'm completely like I'm doing fine on YouTube without working with any like large creators, try to get clout or whatever. I feel I'm a big fan of kind of just growing things organically. So I'm happy with the status quo. I'm happy with continuing on with the way I'm doing it. I think some people have this like fantasy of like, it's kind of unrealistic thinking that if they just work with some big creator, like they're suddenly just going to be successful in YouTube. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
I've seen people that got really lucky and like did like a collaboration. I'm not talking about anyone specific, just like a general, the idea of it. But like people that work with like a big creator and like, yeah, they might have like one video that spikes really well, but people only watch that collaboration mostly for just the I'm sure some people will continue to be loyal fans or viewers, but for the most part I just don't think these collaborations are as game changing as they might seem or appear. So I'm just more of a fan of doing whatever collaboration is
Yeah.
beneficial.
It's like
So
it's like I have you on here and I'm not gonna lie, there will be benefit from it. Like I already, the number of people in my chat and things like that, but it's the same people that usually would be.
well, I was gonna say, like, also there's like
But
overlap.
then
Like, we have people that watch your videos, that watch my videos. It's
and then
we've already
you
talked
know,
for a while, like on Twitter. Like, we've known each other for a while. I mean, we've never
yeah,
actually really talked like this before, but we've
yeah,
known each other for a while. It's not like, yeah, it just makes sense for us to like do this. Like,
yeah, it's not like it's it's like, yeah, I have barely 200 and you're hitting almost 60,000, which is literally like my subscribers squared plus 100 times my subscribers.
I
Like,
mean,
but
yeah, but
but an aspect of things, like you said, we interact and it's not like me just randomly reaching out and being like, "Hey, I want to do this because it's going to help me." Of course it's going to
mhm.
help me, but I'm not only doing that because of the potential of that.
Exactly. Yeah, and like I don't I don't want to be like no, I don't not in the sense that I care about what people think, but more like I just don't want like let's just say like I did a video with MKBHD. I don't want people to be like, oh, he's only popular, he's only successful on YouTube because he got lucky and and worked with MKBHD. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah,
I want to
that's
be able to say like, I'm at where I'm at because of the time and effort that I
so,
put into it.
so I would like to just put something in here and say that so for the people that are watching, the reason that Kevin is on here with me is we were just chatting and something came up with his Facebook page and I was like, "Hey, Kevin, do you know that it's having issues with his comments?" So he's like, "Oh, I'll go check that out or whatever." And then I just randomly asked you like, "Hey, will you be on?" Like that's
Yeah.
all it takes. Like if people are afraid to ask somebody, the worst thing you can do is not ask because then it's an
Mhm.
automatic no.
Yeah.
But, like, the best thing you can do is just have a already, like, working relationship, I guess, or, like, communication through, like, I comment on your videos, I watch your stuff, I interact. Not just randomly reaching out to somebody because you watch their stuff, but you've never, like, interacted or never, like, helped or never shown interest or there was, like, no benefit that you can give because,
Yeah, yeah,
like
exactly. It's kind of like the music industry if you think about it, like, like Drake will work with another popular artist on his level, right? But then you've probably seen before like Drake has done songs with artists that no one knew about, and like people will just listen to the song and like barely anyone will really look into that other artist that he worked with. Like when collaborations work the best when it's like two people that really mesh together, not like one person that's like really popular and like one person that just doesn't really know like what they're doing. You know what I mean? So like this kind of thing, like where we already know each other, is just a good, yeah, just makes more sense. So like here's another example. Like let's look at the flip side of this. Like I'd have no doesn't MKBHD have like a podcast now? Like I'd have no business being on his podcast, for example. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
So
maybe it depends,
I mean, unless it's like a podcast around smaller creators, like that's the point of the podcast. But I mean,
Yeah. So
yeah, I
my
don't know. There's no clear cut. Like I'm just trying to say, I just know, like I just remember when I first got started. You know, you see that group. It's like MKBHD, Unbox Therapy, I Just Seen. They're all like friends with each other and all that. It's like,
Mhm.
you know. And then I remember I used to think, oh, that'd be cool, like to know all of them. Well, yeah, I'm sure they're great people to know, but like I want to create my own like community of people. Like I don't need to
Yeah.
join someone else's community. Like, yeah, if
Build
if it
your
makes
own
sense,
success.
sure. But yeah, it's not like I think some people think like, oh, I want to join the cool kids club or whatever. Like it's just it doesn't. There's why like don't I don't know, like I don't want to just work with people because I'm a fan of them, like you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, I'm
Build
just getting on a tangent with this, but I hopefully it kind of makes sense where I'm coming
Yeah,
from.
build your own group and know that you built yourself up and not be like, I'm only successful because I happen to be in this chat with somebody who had 10 million subscribers or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
but then that can be harmful too, because like, for example, let's say a month from now, I say, guess what? I got MKBHD to be on here and I get like up to some crazy amount of subscribers. Like, let's say I shoot over and I get to like 150,000 subscribers for some reason because everybody that's on there just clicks on and subscribes
Hmm.
to me. That
Yeah.
could be really bad. Like, that could actually destroy my channel because what if I don't have, like, because I've not been doing this long enough to have the standards. Like, if that many people are relying on coming to my channel, like the next week it would probably just tank because they're just going to also unsubscribe because I haven't been doing this long enough to provide the quality that might be necessary. Not that I don't, but like
Yeah.
that would just be weird. Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
or
it's
they
it's
might
just
have a different group of people.
yeah,
Like
right.
if all of a sudden 100 and if all of a sudden 15,000 of your subscribers subscribe to my channel, but those are 15,000 people that would watch my channel normally, it's not going to provide me any more views. It's not going to provide me any more like of any benefit necessarily.
Yeah, I was gonna say one other thing, like to kind of answer this question about who I'd want to work with. I'm kind of more interested in like their knowledge and not so much working with them. Like it would be cool. Like for example, if I met MKBHD, I'd rather sit down and like learn more about what's helped him than actually make content with him. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather absorb like what he knows
That's
about
yeah, that's
YouTube success or Flossie Carter. Like if I was sitting right now with Flossie Carter, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let me whip out the camera for clout. Like no, it would be more like, hey Floss, like what do you know that I don't know? And maybe there's some things I know that you don't know. You know, like let's try to work together in that kind of way. Like I feel like that's where you get the most value out of working with someone is when you exchange ideas about content and learn more about about providing the best content that you can and maybe certain YouTube related tactics to get the algorithm to promote your content better or to get more sponsors or something like that. I feel like that's where the real value comes in. It's not just like a quick trying to get clout, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like that's why I do these because I learn so much every time and sometimes it gives me ideas for new videos, gives me ideas of questions to ask.
Yeah.
Um, I find out things that I had no idea about people sometimes. Uh,
Yeah.
I get to see the side of you because we only normally see the side of you from your videos. So like for your subscribers too, if they watch this, it's
Yeah.
different than
Yeah, it's more of a personal side, you know,
So
more
that's
details
that
about
was
what I
my
yeah.
like pitch for this whole program or this whole thing to people was like,
Yeah.
I don't have a bunch of subscribers, but I can provide benefit because like I can ask the questions that people are probably thinking because I am I started off as that. I didn't just hop in as a creator. Like I started off as all of these people's viewers. So
Sure.
and you can ask questions in chats, but people don't, so that was
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know at least for me, I mean, even though like the channel's grown a lot and I have, momentum going forward, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff I could learn, obviously. So that's why I'm saying I just feel like the most value out of working with someone is more like learning from them, not so much, them just being in one of your videos or you're in one of their videos. I mean,
yeah.
there's still, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's I know I'm all over the place with it. There still are benefits with collaborating. I mean, there
Mhm.
still are benefits. I feel like the actual like the video collaborations are a little more overrated and the more the knowledge collaborations are less overrated. Or okay, here's another example of a collaboration. I know TechRite is watching this right now, and he lives in California. I live in Phoenix, and what we did last summer is that he would visit me and bring his phones, like his phones that he has, and I'd have my phones that I have. Now we had some of the same devices, but we had a lot of different devices. And then I made videos or content about his phones, and then he made content about my phones. We didn't even, I think the whole week that he was here, we didn't even do videos together, but it was more like I was able to make, content about his devices. He made content about my devices. And that's the type of collaboration that really creates real results, because we got access to these different phones that we didn't that neither of us had. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Mutually beneficial sort of thing.
yeah, yeah.
So
So yeah, I mean, there's so many more ways to collaborate than just making a video, together. So I just think people need to just be aware of that and
and
make the most out of it.
for me, it's one of those like um seeing already that I can provide a benefit even having a smaller channel to larger because I've already had where I've been on like a stream with somebody and like something comes up and I just ramble on and on about something and they learned like 5 new things that they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I've had
Yeah.
people I had one time I actually created a title for their next video
Mm-hmm.
because they were looking for something and I was like randomly said some smart pun thing and they're like, "Oh, that works well. I'm going to use that." I'm like, "Go for it." So things like that is, um and that's what my goal is to always remember. So even if someday I'm up there with like Justine and Linus and MKBHD up there with 10 million subscribers or whatever, to always remember that I started somewhere and to continue to do what I do today and ask creators, no matter the size of their channel, to, come on and talk because it doesn't
Oh yeah.
matter. We're all
Yeah,
people.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. Everyone has well, and also if you think about it too, like the way YouTube is, the way the tech scene is, like things evolve over time. I mean, certain styles of content that are popular now weren't even around like 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm sure in the future things will evolve too. So I would say that any content creator, like as far as people that you communicate with on a regular basis or get ideas from or bounce ideas off each other, you kind of need a mixture of like new people and old people as well. People that have been on the platform for a while, and then other people that are like getting started recently. Because if
Yeah,
you
we
just
need.
surround yourself with a bunch of people that are used to being successful on YouTube in 2011 or 2012, then you can't use 2012 logic and thinking in 2020.
We all need our Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
I know it's running about twice as long as you were
I
intending
know.
on being
Yeah.
on, but we're almost done.
No,
So
yeah, no rush. No rush. I got plenty of time. So yeah, so what are my goals for this year? Honestly, just continue to do what I'm doing. I want to continue to upload daily. This week has been a little bit of a slower week just because I'm taking a little break this week, but I want to continue with the daily uploads, and then I have a second channel about cameras. So I want to start doing like videos in a similar format that I do with phones, like with the tips and tricks, 5 best and worst things, like all that stuff. But I want to do it with cameras instead, because the cameras have way better affiliate commissions with with those. So I think that could be a new revenue source for me, and kind of diversify a little bit away from just phones. And then I also have a second channel called Smartphone Review Pro. And the idea of that is it'll literally just be the same type of content that I put on Kevin Breeze. I'm just doing it because I just want to have like a second channel as like kind of a backup channel, but also I want to get it like partnered and stuff. So like just in case anything, like I'm optimistic nothing will ever happen, but just in case something were to happen to the Kevin Breeze channel, I just want to know I have like another channel like somewhat established that I could just quickly move over to and continue business as usual.
That makes
or
sense.
at least like have another channel that is established while I try to fix the other channel. I know like hacking has been a big, now I've really tightened the ship here, so I'm not worried about getting hacked.
Yeah, I
But
actually had my EA Sports account got hacked because I
really,
got a email saying your password has been reset. So I'm like, well, they can't get into my Gmail, so they won't be able to do that. But thanks
yeah,
for letting me know so I can go in and
yeah. Yeah, I
it,
had my McDonald's account got hacked a few weeks ago, and probably a good thing, but
I was like,
yeah. So yeah, you never
for me,
know.
it
I
didn't
mean,
mean anything because there wasn't any credit card or any games or anything on
yeah,
there really. But it's like
YouTube though, that's totally different.
if
Yeah,
they have that information though, it was like the same login as other accounts. I'm like, so I need to make sure my other accounts are clear,
right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I would say just it's good to have backup plans, especially since I do this full time. I don't work anywhere else or do any of that. I mean, I'll do like little side projects or whatever, but this is my main thing. So I got to make sure I have like backup plans and other channels set up and ready to go, and
yeah, that
just
was a question I forgot to put down to ask you. So good thing you mentioned
like
that.
how
I
I make
forgot
money,
to
like
ask
how I
uh,
survive.
ask if you did other stuff. So because I know there's a lot of people that like have other things they do. Like a lot of people probably don't realize that the guys like MKBHD, he does filming on the side, like not just
In
his
sports,
channel
yeah.
and sports and stuff. And like, because like Justine, she does like vlogging and stuff, but
Mhm.
all of hers is YouTube. Linus Tech Tips. I mean, he has like 15 channels now, but
Right.
they're all on YouTube and like so but there's a lot of people that side business is what they do. So I know like with the group of people that I hang out with, Easy Computer Solution, Eric, he has a cake business.
Mhm.
Tech King Mike is a truck driver. Um, Tana So Lit makes beats and things like that. So those guys, I mean, just to name a few, they YouTube is kind of like the extra. They don't if it doesn't
Yeah.
survive, they don't really necessarily. I mean, although I do know that they have deals and collaborations with different, sponsors and stuff, but
Mhm.
because so
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so for me, now since it is like the channel makes good money and stuff, and that's with multiple ways, through the ads obviously, but also through, different affiliate programs that I'm in, and sponsorships and things like that. So, I try to diversify and not, just depend on one specific revenue source. But yeah, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. Like I knew that my long-term goal was to do YouTube as my primary occupation. But at first I did freelance writing for about a year and a half. I designed websites for different people locally, so I was doing different things like that, making money in other ways first, because I wasn't making enough from YouTube. And I'm 25. I live on my own. I have a 2-bed 2-bath apartment that this is my actually the master bedroom I'm in right now, but it's just for videos. It's a dedicated workroom. So yeah, I
is
mean,
that
I had to pay my bills, so I had to have other ways to make money, and I didn't want to do. I could have probably done like a part-time job, like coffee shop or something, but I really just wanted to work from home completely, and I didn't want to really work for a company necessarily. So I just did a lot of freelance stuff for a while, And then as I started to make more with YouTube, I didn't take on as many web design clients anymore, and I stopped doing freelance writing. So things evolve. I will say that I plan on doing YouTube, as my main focus for as long as I can, for as long as it's profitable. But people ask like, oh, what are you gonna do once YouTube goes away? Well, first thing is, I think we've got at least another decade, because I remember 10 years ago, people said to people that were partners like, oh, well, it's fun now, but then you got to get a real job like later on. It's well, now it's what, 10 years later, and things are, I mean, of course, YouTube goes through its own ups and downs, but as far as, different things with the platform, but it's, just as lucrative as it's ever been, if not better, because it's more people are watching than ever before. So
Well, my
I think
thought
we've got
on
a lot of
that, like, my thought on that too is like, so obviously, I don't make money on YouTube yet. That's my goal. My goal is to get, some sponsorships and eventually get monetized and stuff. But I know that even getting monetized isn't necessarily that big of a deal, because there's like creators that have 400 or 500 that actually make more money than people that have like 5,000, because because they get views
Mhm.
and they work with
Definitely.
companies that sponsor them, so that they get the money from that, and then they work their way up. But I was going to
Yeah.
ask you, is that the famous whiteboard behind you?
Yeah, it is. I haven't really been doing too many whiteboard videos. It's just kind of hard to do sometimes, just because like, this is a good sized room that I'm in, but now I have another table with like more phones and stuff back there, and I'm kind of running out of space for that. So I'm probably going to be moving, hopefully in the next couple of months. And when I do that, I should have even more space to do this stuff. So yeah, it is the whiteboard, but for now I'm taking a little break with the whiteboard content.
So let's
Yeah.
see, last few questions
I was
here.
gonna say one other. Oh, it was on the. I just forgot for a second what I was gonna say. It was Oh yeah, about like making money and stuff, and all that. And about the views. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I'm not trying to say this in like a bragging kind of way, but like, if if you go on my Social Blade, you'll see like my channel does get a decent amount of views, and like, now and then I'll kind of see like, oh, how does it compare to some of these like bigger creators, like people that are more household names?
Hmm.
Like, I I get again, I'm not saying this in like a jerky way, but I mean, I get more views on my channel than like some people that I know that have like a million subs. So like, you
Yeah.
know, I think some of these content creators, they some of them, like, again, I'm not like subliminally talking about people. I'm just saying as a general thing, because I've noticed it pretty widespread. Some of these content creators get so into the sponsorships that they kind of start to forget about like what brings people to their channel in their first place. And whatever works for those people. Obviously they probably know stuff I don't even know, especially when it comes to sponsorships. But I know that for me, I'm really just focusing on the content, and also making content that's search friendly, and making content with like longevity that will last for a long time, that like people will keep searching for throughout the year. And I think that's really helped my channel kind of snowball and like gain views like more and more as time goes on, compared to like other channels where like they just talk about the latest tech news of the day or whatever. And I watch those channels too. So I hope they continue that content. But I'm just saying, like, to really like to get like residual income from the ads, to get, growth with more and more daily views, you really have to make content that ranks well in the search, and content about things that people are going to be searching for, months, if not years into the future, because that's really the best way to continue to grow a channel. I know like one creator that I'm a big fan of, Simple Alpaca. I don't know if you've heard of him or not,
I
but
have.
he has quite a few subscribers as well, but he gets a lot of views on his channel. Like, I think I looked at his Social Blade one time. He gets like 4.5 million or something every month. And most of the biggest creators that are like household names, like not household names, but you know what I mean? Like people that, you hear like Soldier Knows Best, John Rettinger, all awesome guys. But Simple Alpaca, though, you don't hear about him too much, but he gets way more views than those guys, like way more views than those guys. So,
He also
for the
puts out like 4 or 5 videos a day
exactly.
sometimes.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. Oh yeah. He's cranking out the content. So what my point is though is that and I'm not saying it's all about the views or the total views for your channel. I mean, you know, that doesn't mean like just because someone doesn't get a lot of channel views that doesn't mean they're bad at YouTube. That's absolutely not the case. I'm just saying that it's not always the most well-known people that get the most views on the platform overall.
yeah.
So,
Well, it's like
I think sometimes when people look at these more well-known creators as like an inspiration for the type of content they create, maybe they should look more at the creators that are really pulling in the views, but maybe aren't like the most popular name recognition
well,
wise.
it's like funny to me because I've been only doing this for it's almost 9 months consistently now. I mean, I started over a year ago, but then I took like a 4-month break in there. So I really
Mhm.
only count like the last about 9 months. And just to see like going from like 20 subscribers to like 10 times that. And then I look at like views and I'm like, I have 150 views for every 1 subscriber. That's pretty good. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
it's funny to me to see that. Like, wait a minute, that seems like, but that's a good thing because I also seeing like 14% of my views are from subscribers and 86% are outside, which means that it's not just subscribers watching.
Hmm.
Now, that some people could be like, well, that's a bad thing because that means your subscribers aren't watching. No, it means that all my subscribers are watching, but 14% of my views are subscribers. So I'm not just reaching them, I'm reaching new people, which potentially
Sure.
brings them in. Because if 100% of my views are just my subscribers, I'm not reaching anybody new.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
and I'll
yeah,
never
yeah.
expand, and I'll just consistently get the number of views for the number of subscribers I have. And
Right. And I know like technically the algorithm is supposed to expose your videos to like new subscribers and stuff, which it does, and like new people, but really like making videos that rank in the search as well.
yeah.
You know, that is, I think that's even almost more reliable and effective at growing a channel compared to just hoping that the algorithm pushes stuff out. I know there's also an algorithm that controls the search as well, of course, but
I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that supposedly if your number of views equals at least 10% of your subscribers in the first 24 hours of a video, that's considered like successful.
hmm,
So,
yeah,
like
I
for me, that's only
yeah,
like 20 views. I usually get double that. So I'm like,
right.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, that's no, yeah, I would say so. I mean, that's definitely good. Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. So,
So this question, do you think it's too late for LG? It's because mainly I've noticed that like, for example, the LG G8, the LG G8X, then the LG G9 that's leaked basically are all starting to look like the same device. And I feel like they're having problems with marketing and like price point and things like that. And then like seeing that. So I just wonder, do you think it's too late for them as far as like smartphone, or can they come back by like putting out something crazy ridiculous, or like do they need to like come out? Do they need to like drop the price on devices? Like, what would you think they would need to do to kind of come back?
yeah, I mean, I think flagships seems like Apple, Samsung, and OnePlus seem to really just be taking over flagships. Like I think LG should still offer a flagship, but there's no reason for them to offer both the G and the V series. They need to consolidate that into just one phone.
Yeah.
And then I feel like really the most growth nowadays seems to be happening with budget and mid-range devices. So I'm really glad to see that LG did announce that new like K series of phones, like 3 different budget phones in the K series coming out. So that does give me some hope. I don't necessarily think it's too late for them because when they do put effort into it, they are able to create good smartphones. I just feel like for flagships, they should probably pretty much give up on that. Maybe just offer one flagship just so that they don't completely, leave that sector. But I think they should focus more on creating, mid-range phones that are actually good. And they need to stop doing, like, I know, like with the LG Stylo 5, it was like the same phone as like the LG Stylo 4. Like they need to stop doing stuff like that.
And
No
then they
gimmicks. I'd like to see LG go the route of Motorola. I think Motorola, they've been doing a great job with the G series for them,
oh
which is
yeah.
their, like, what is it, like $250 for
Hmm.
that phone. So yeah, I feel like I feel like Motorola is they have a great business model right now that I think LG should try to replicate, especially since LG is capable of doing everything that Motorola is.
Well, in that
So,
software that Motorola is doing, like thinking of what they thought of where you can hold your phone like this, but it shoots as
oh
if you're
yeah, the
holding it like
vertical,
this,
yeah, it's like vertical
is like
or horizontal video holding the phone vertically.
I was like, that is
Yeah,
simple too, because all that is
yeah,
software because the sensor is still it's a square. So all it's doing is basically allowing you to view it rotated.
Yeah, I agree. That's really smart. I do like also how Motorola uses pretty much stock Android as well. I feel like with LG, I just don't really see people saying that they're buying LG phones because they like the software skin. I mean, I know
It's
that LG user interface does give you some extra features that you don't typically get with stock Android, but if they could just include those features into stock, like kind of build out stock Android with those extra features, I think that's better than just going with their
well,
interface
it's like
that they
my
use.
G8 just finally got updated to Android 10 not too long ago. And oh my gosh, like it's so much smoother. I finally get the battery life I was hoping I would get. Like I used it the other day and I got like 9.5 hours of screen on
That's
time.
awesome.
And
Yeah,
like that was like out and about and like I was tethered to one of my other phones, like
right.
for data and stuff like that. But I'm like, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah, that is really impressive. I was gonna say one other thing that LG really messed up on too is that the prices, the value of their phones goes down like so quickly. Like
well,
you can
and
buy an LG G7 right now for like well under $200, and that phone was like $1,000 new. So
well,
like
my
it,
G8 was $820 through AT&T. Now, fortunately,
I don't know.
I got it free with monthly credits.
Okay.
That's the only reason I got it. Quite
Yeah, well,
literally,
there's
like,
the deal right there. Like, yeah, you got it for a good deal. Why don't they just offer those deals out of the gate? Like, if hardly anyone's actually going to pay, full price to the phone, like, why even offer it at full price? It just looks goofy at that point when they start offering these discounts like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, so technically, I mean, it had to be a line. So technically, I paid like 360. It would have paid $360 for it because it's over 18 months, and I
Yeah,
paid it off already. But like, because of the $20 line access fee or whatever. But
that's what I mean. So that,
that's
like, LG
there
should,
anyway. So it's
since
like,
they discount these phones anyway, or do like a buy one get one free. Like, why don't they just offer these phones right, immediately at launch at OnePlus prices?
yeah, because T-Mobile now we switched T-Mobile, and they now have buy one get one free on the G8 this week. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
exactly. It's
but
kind
what's
of a
crazy to me on that is like,
early adopters, like the people that did actually pay $1,000. It makes them feel like idiots.
well, and then to me, you can go buy the G8 for like $231 now. I've seen it like on eBay and
Oh
stuff. I'm
no,
like,
yeah, renewed, yeah.
and then they came out with
Great
a
for me now because I can recommend these phones and they're really cheap but good phones. So like
and
people love to buy them now. But
the
yeah,
G8X. Like I feel like that was like a big like slap in the face because here you got the G8, but we're gonna release this G8X for like cheaper. Actually,
mhm.
it was like literally 700 and what was it, $700 I think they had it for with the secondary case that's what AT&T had it for. That was $120 less than the G8 was. And
Yeah,
it came with the case.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the
Like
thing. Like they're good phones. It's just that they just don't, like, their strategy is just so all over the place. It's total opposite of Apple.
they
Apple doesn't
should
really provide any discounts, and they're doing fine. So
I feel like what they should have done was like the G series be the phone that's just the normal phone, and then the V series be the one that's offered with the dual display instead of offering like the G and then offering it in like an X form later on, and then also the V with and then having the V series be like the 5G compatible international. Just have two models and one like the G series is the basic, The V series has like the additional cameras, the additional secondary screen, and then people won't be mad because they know what they're getting, into.
Yeah.
So
Seriously though, yeah, no, I know. That's why I'm really hoping that these new K series phones, it looks like this is kind of their competitor to get to Samsung's A series. And I know they've had like K series phones in the past, but they've always been kind of crappy.
I'm
But it
hoping
looks
that
like these new ones actually are like a pretty solid attempt.
I'm
Like they
hoping
afford.
that K61 will have the. I'm hoping that it's gonna have, like I was telling you, I'm hoping it will be the P90 because based on like what I've seen like leaked, as far as like, well, as far as like what they talked about in specs for the cameras, it would have to be to have that 48 megapixel sensor. It couldn't be the P70 because that only goes up to 32. There's no P80 that I know of that's really on it, so it'd have to be the P90. But then it's like that's their flagship processor.
Right.
So I guess they could because now they have the G90 and the G90T processor that they're doing.
Mhm.
So, but
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. I just hope that if they can make these phones like very competitive with Samsung's A series, I think they can succeed. But I think as far as flagships go, like the glory days might be over at this point for them. I
I
don't
have
think
these last two questions, and I think I'll let you go. We're hit like an hour and a half
for
here,
sure.
so
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. I know I kind of talk a lot, so
it's all good. I was like, whatever. People are watching. We can talk. It's
yeah,
good.
sure, sure. So, which manufacturer has your favorite UI? Pure Android, Oxygen OS, or One UI? So, for a while, I did not like Samsung's like One UI or like their software in general. I just liked stock Android. But then, as I got to kind of learn more about the various like features that are built into One UI, now don't get me wrong, there are some there are some features built in that are kind of gimmicky, not useful, but I would say I haven't really used too many OnePlus products, so I can't say too much about Oxygen OS. As far as I'm aware, though, it sounds like Oxygen OS like is like stock, but they add in extra features. So I would say that's probably would be my favorite approach. I like stock for the simplicity of it. I just feel like it does lack some features that other companies do include on their software overlays. So probably, yeah, my dream UI would be like stock Android, but just with extra features.
Yeah, because like Oxygen, basically their stock, but then they added like they had dark mode first.
Mm-hmm.
They had some like I can't really think of what else, but like some of these things that others didn't really implement. Like Samsung didn't even have like some of the theming that now is
Mm-hmm.
available in Android 10, where you could do custom color for like your quick settings and things like that. So
Yeah, I feel like
that's kind of
yeah,
where
that,
Android's gone though. Like Android 11 is really Android 10 with all the things that other companies put in, like going official. It's like Android 10 was the same thing. Like they saw how people liked the idea of like DeX, so now there's desktop mode.
right,
But
exactly. Yeah.
what's
So
confusing on that is OnePlus's version is awful. Like I've tried it, it skips and stutters all over the place, and like as far as resizing the windows, you can't grab like the bottom edge because it basically puts them in like phone view on
mm,
there and doesn't
right.
let you adjust the LG's is actually really good though, surprisingly enough. Like theirs is
And they added that to the
identical to
GA
Dex.
software update.
They did. You just have to enable, like in developer settings, you can enable force desktop mode. And it's funny because it's actually really smooth. Like it's like as good as what took Samsung 3 generations to get to with Dex. Like I was shocked. I'm like, it's smooth. When you resize apps, they work. There's only one problem.
What's
Google
the problem?
Chrome crashes. When you're using it in desktop mode, Chrome crashes.
Oh,
You have to download like Firefox or something.
that's surprising.
That's just a Chrome update thing that
Right.
you need to be. But I was just shocked. I'm like, wait a minute, LG, this company that like everybody's lost focus on, is offering the best as far as that. So
Oh yeah, they make great phones. I mean, I personally, I kind of, in some ways, I like how the values of the G series phones like just drop like a brick, but it is still kind of sad and unfortunate at the same time.
and
So
one last question I have
sure, do
for
you think that Apple will continue the way they have been, or will that add more, or they will add more specs like Samsung has done? So I feel like nowadays we've gotten to the point where people have kind of decided like which OS they're going to go with. I don't think it doesn't seem like people really switch between Android and iOS anymore, except for like, the tech reviewers. But so I feel like Apple's in a pretty good place moving forward. I think a lot of iPhone users just want they don't I don't really hear too many like really hardcore like Apple iPhone users say like they need more features necessarily. So I think if Apple just kind of makes better looking hardware, I feel like I was saying, I feel like the notch and all that is just ridiculous that we still have that.
so
If they can kind of like change up the way that their hardware looks, kind of giving us better, smaller notches or no notch, and maybe just continue to make their cameras better, then I think that's really all they need to do. And one other thing about that too is like I feel like putting a lot of megapixels into your camera really is the future, because I think that's a better approach than having a dedicated telephoto camera.
that's true, because then you can just crop in and you're like, because in theory, like 108 megapixel, you can go in 9 times and have a 12 megapixel image. So why not just do that instead of like, we're going to put a
Exactly.
secondary lens that's lower resolution and then we're going to crop in on that. So then like they'll put in like some of these, they're putting in like a 12 megapixel and using that as their telephoto.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
maybe that sensor is actually larger and that's just like a software thing, but I don't think so. It's weird how they do that. Like they'll
Hmm.
use a lower resolution for the things that they should use the higher resolution sensor for.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say too is that as far as the telephoto stuff goes, like for example, this is the Galaxy A71, and it does not have a telephoto camera, despite it having a quad camera setup. But it has a 64 megapixel camera. So even if you just even if you zoom in like 2x, like it works fine. That's one thing that kind of annoyed me about after the Galaxy S20 Ultra was announced, and they showed like that, that crazy like 100 times zoom like onto some like random like lighthouse or something like way out in the middle of like San Francisco. So people on Twitter were saying like, oh, it looks so bad zooming in, 100 times. Like, yeah, yeah. Or they would say like, oh, what normal person is going to zoom in that far? They're not. The point is that on a lot of these other devices in the past, the telephoto camera only gave you 2x zoom, optical zoom. So if you use that crazy zoom with like the S20 Ultra, but you just do like 2x or even 5x, it's still going to look really good. So the whole point of it is that you're able to, with the same camera as your standard camera, you're able to still like zoom in really far, and you don't have like the manufacturer doesn't have to implement a dedicated camera just for telephoto. So I'm just saying that makes more sense. Yeah, I mean, of course, if you're going to use the high megapixel count and then zoom in like 100 times, yeah, it's not going to look good.
Well,
But
yeah, because it's gonna only
just do a normal amount like 2x or 3x or 4x, it's going to look super sharp.
yeah, it's gonna the 100 megapixel 100 times in, that's 1.08 megapixels then essentially is what you're left with.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
technically not that because they crop. So you lose like a portion of it then. But
Right. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So,
well,
and I'm a big fan of ultra wide as well. So, yeah.
with that being said, is there anything that you kind of wanted to add in here that you wanted to let people know or,
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway, as far as, I mean, we talked about a lot in the stream today, but the biggest takeaway is like, as far as people creating their own tech channels, I kind of shared my method of doing it, but there are many different ways of doing it. I mean, there's so, everyone's channel, like, you just got to find a way that works for you. Just something that works for MKBHD might not work for you, or maybe it will. But the point is, there's not just one path to go. There's like 20 different paths that you can take. But yeah, I mean, if anyone watching this ever has any questions about anything related to YouTube, growing on the platform, feel free to DM me and I'll try to give some advice, or at least provide whatever advice I have. Of course, I don't have all the answers either. But yeah, thank you, Michael, though, for having me here on the show today. Really appreciate it. And happy to be on any other time as well.
And all of your links I already put down in the description. If you want to, because I don't think I have your other channel. If you want that in there, you can DM that to me, and I'll add that down there as well. Because I have like your main YouTube and your Twitter and your Instagram, but I forgot about your other one because I think you mentioned it briefly. But
it's I've been a little behind on that.
But
well, I mean, actually, for those people that want to see those, they can just go on my regular channel and just go on my channels tab, and they'll
that's
see it
true.
there.
I'll just do that because then they can just go look for it if they want. So, well, thank you for coming on, and
always a pleasure.
Much appreciated, and I look forward to more of this. And thanks for that offer as well of continuing to do more videos and things like that with me. And so this was fun. Good luck with your real estate search, and hopefully
another new place to live. Yeah,
we might see a different background behind you in a couple months. So.
Well, I was gonna say I was gonna do like a setup tour, but since I'm gonna be out of here, in a number of months, I'll probably wait until the next place I live at to do that.
Also, can you do your outro before we leave? I love your hey, this has been Kevin Breeze. You do have an outro. I don't know if you know that, but
where I'm like, thanks everyone for watching. This is Kevin here. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yes, that one. Yes, thank you.
Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Bye. Right.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Oh, I hop out now? Or?
I'm gonna drop you out if you'll stay in so I can talk to you real quick after I end this.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm gonna do my outro and then.
Everyone subscribe to Michael Pepper Tech Talk, by the way.
Thank you. This has been episode 3 of Creator Interviews with special guest Kevin Breeze. If you aren't subscribed to him or to this channel, please do so. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified of my next episode of this and my other videos. And also don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and that's much appreciated. All my links are down below, including my Facebook pages, my other channel, my Instagram, my Twitter, a donation link. So if you want to help the channel, that's down there as well. And as always, thanks for watching, and God bless.